Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into what's got to be the most infamous secret society in the world, the Illuminati. You know, for decades, this idea of a shadow world government pulling the strings behind the scenes has totally captured our imaginations. But where exactly does the wild fiction end and the actual history begin? Well, we're going to separate the two right now. All right, let's dive right in and peel this onion layer by layer. We're going to start by looking at modern pop culture myths, look at a wild prank from the 1960s, peek into the secretive Bilderberg Group, and trace some classic symbols of American paranoia, before finally digging all the way down to the 18th century truth of the Bavarian Illuminati. So let's start with that outermost layer, the modern-day obsession with a shadowy global elite. This is the version of the Illuminati you've probably seen plastered all over internet forums and tabloid magazines. Which brings us to a really provocative question. Is the New World Order real, or is it total fiction? This whole idea of a hidden hand guiding human history, controlling all the wealth, and basically dictating our politics, it's everywhere today. And it's a powerful concept, right? Because it offers a super simple explanation for what is honestly a really complex and chaotic world. But when you actually look at who's accused of being in this group, things get kind of bizarre. Just look at this wild variety of accused members. We're talking pop icons like Madonna and Michael Jackson right alongside massive tech billionaires like Bill Gates and Elon Musk. And then you throw in global political figures, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Narendra Modi, Justin Trudeau, Tony Blair. Now, to be absolutely clear, we are just neutrally reporting these names here. These are internet theories without a single shred of concrete evidence. But the sheer variety, people from completely different ends of the political spectrum and entirely different industries, really shows just how wild and unfounded these rumors are. I mean, some folks even claimed Paul McCartney was replaced by a Canadian clone. To give you a sense of just how extreme this modern pop culture paranoia has gotten, get this. Back in 2014, actual media headlines were claiming that pop star Katy Perry was an Illuminati high priestess performing dark magic during her stage shows. It sounds completely absurd, but it actually sets up an incredible irony. Because these massive, far-reaching rumors, they didn't start in some ancient, shadowy crypt. They actually started as a joke. Yep, a joke. We're transitioning back to the 1960s counterculture now. It was a time of huge anti-establishment sentiment, and believe it or not, many of our modern Illuminati myths were born right here from an incredibly elaborate prank. Enter the Principia Discordia. This was a satirical pamphlet from the 60s written by a guy named Carey Thornley under a pseudonym. It promoted something called Discordianism, which was this bizarre mock religion dedicated entirely to Eris, the Greek goddess of chaos. Basically, this movement encouraged people to embrace chaos, question authority, and disrupt the status quo by pulling off massive practical jokes. Now, what's really interesting here is just how far the Discordians went. They literally sent fake letters to Playboy magazine and mainstream newspapers. They deliberately invented wild conspiracy theories about the moon landing and the Cold War, basically just mocking historical facts. But here is the staggering irony. A joke explicitly designed to mock conspiracy theories actually created the modern Illuminati myth. The public just took the prank seriously. Belief in an all-powerful hidden elite absolutely skyrocketed into accepted reality. Okay, peeling back the next layer, let's move over to post-World War II Europe and take a look at the real-life elite meetings that absolutely continue to fuel this modern paranoia. The year was 1954. The world was still recovering from the utter devastation of the Second World War, and Cold War tensions were ramping up fast. That year, Prince Bernhard convened a meeting of global leaders at the Hotel de Bilderberg in the Netherlands. The stated goal? To ease those post-war tensions and foster unity between Europe and North America. And this brilliantly illustrates the heart of the Bilderberg controversy. It's the stark contrast between their stated purpose and their intensely secretive practices. Look, their goals are noble enough, discussing broad economic issues, fostering global peace. They even publish a general list of topics. But the secrecy, that's what triggers the alarms. They don't publish detailed agendas. They allow absolutely zero journalists inside. The guest lists and private discussions are locked down tight. Someone actually asked a member once if they were secretly forming a global government, and they replied that they just wanted to prevent another devastating world war by getting people together. So while their goals might be completely peaceful, it's that intense secrecy that makes people suspect a new world order is pulling the strings. Now, let's cross the Atlantic and see how early American politics and some of our most beloved national symbols got completely tangled up in this Illuminati web. Get this, during the fiercely contested U.S. election of 1800, former President John Adams actually accused his rival, Thomas Jefferson, of being an Illuminati member. The panic was so real that George Washington himself had to step in. He wrote a letter attempting to completely deny the Illuminati's presence in America. But the historical irony is just brilliant. Washington's attempt to calm the public only caused more panic. People literally thought, well, if George Washington is talking about them, they must be real. And over time, that paranoia attached itself to symbols. The big one, of course, is the Eye of Providence. You know, the eye sitting right on top of the pyramid on the back of the American $1 bill. But if you actually trace the history of this symbol, the truth comes out. Back in the ancient era, it was the Eye of Horus in Egypt, a symbol for protection. Jump to the 16th century, and it's popping up in Christian Renaissance art to represent God watching over humanity, or the Holy Trinity. In 1782, it was added to the Great Seal of the United States just to signify divine providence favoring the American cause. It is only in the modern day that it became feared as this ultimate Illuminati symbol. So its origins are deeply religious and historical, definitely not the trademark of a secret world government. All right, we have finally reached the absolute core of our onion. Stripping away the pop stars, the pranksters, and the politicians, let's look at the actual historical society. The True Group was founded on May 1st, 1776 in Bavaria, Germany, by a law professor named Adam Weishaupt. Now, Weishaupt was heavily inspired by the French Enlightenment, but he lived in a society strictly controlled by conservative, religious, and monarchical forces. So the original Illuminati was actually created to promote freedom of thought, science, and rationalism. Their entire goal was to free people from oppressive dogma, not to achieve some sort of global domination. But man, Weishaupt was meticulous. The steps to join his society were incredibly rigid and bureaucratic. First off, you had to be under 30 years old, because Weishaupt figured older minds were just too set in their ways. Second, you needed to be wealthy and well-connected. Third, you had to be openly discontented with the current establishment. And finally, even if you checked all those boxes, you still had to complete a grueling 3-year novice training period. You practically needed a flawless referral just to get your foot in the door. They even used historical aliases. Weishaupt actually called himself Spartacus. So how did it end? Let's move into our final chapter and see how the real Illuminati collapsed in the blink of an eye. Let's see how this builds to a really rapid, tragic climax. The group is founded in 1776, and by 1782, it peaks at around 2,500 members, which is pretty successful. But just 2 years later, in 1784, massive internal conflict breaks out. Members started treating Weishaupt like a literal deity, which totally went against their own rationalist principles. Disgruntled members started leaking secret documents outlining controversial plans. By 1785, the Bavarian government panicked and categorically banned all secret societies. And by 1787, the group was totally shattered, with any remaining members facing the death penalty. Massive egos, leaked plans, and strict government bans basically destroyed the whole society in just a single decade. Before we wrap up, though, I've got to inject a surprising fun fact here. Remember all that paranoia about the Eye of Providence on the dollar bill? Well, the true historical symbol of the Bavarian Illuminati was never the eye on the pyramid. Nope, it was actually the owl of Minerva, representing wisdom, usually depicted inside a circle. It's the perfect little detail that completely severs the historical reality from the modern pop culture myth. Which leaves us with one final provocative question. We know the historical society was completely dismantled back in the 1780s, but the idea of them, this massive myth fueled by 1960s pranksters, secretive elite meetings, and the modern internet, is honestly stronger than ever. So, is the Illuminati truly gone forever? Or are the remnants of that desire for influence just hiding in plain sight in our modern institutions? It's a great reminder to always question what you see and hear. Look at the evidence and think critically about the stories we tell ourselves. Thanks so much for joining me on this Explainer. I really hope you're walking away with a much clearer understanding of this wild history. Catch you next time.